yourselves. Give a brief introduction of who you are and what are your specialties.
Hello, hello. I am Kimyana Jones Bay, and I'm so happy to be on the Legacy Conference. I think this is about to be my specialty, creating legacy. But I am what I call a serial entrepreneur. I dabble in the real estate market, have been for a long time with a focus in beauty. So I am the proud owner of Perfect Salon Suites, and I also run a nonprofit that is basically geared to helping women be the best versions of themselves. That nonprofit is called Women Enhancement Centers of America, and it's short for WECA. So I'm happy to be here and happy to part knowledge with all the beautiful people here on the panel.
Thank you. Milton?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Milton Spence. I'm a proud owner of Well-Rounded Consulting, where we do a lot of different things. Number one that we specialize in that we love to do is mostly coaching and prepping people to not only be great leaders, but also to be able to own a business and just be great human beings overall. One of the other things that we do is government contracting, where we do a bevy of different jobs for the United States government. One contract we actually just landed was for a solar project right here in Florida. We also do insurance, so life and health insurance as well, and mostly annuities and things of that nature. So that's what I love. But most of all, I am a man of God. I love my family, and that is me in a nutshell.
Awesome. Right on to Christopher Shaw.
Hey everyone, thank you for inviting me once again, Mr. Payne. My name is Christopher Shaw. I'm the founder of the Infinity Firm, and what we do over the years have been helping people build a solid foundation for their business. From start to finish, we really help them with that first year, really get off, and then if we want to go forward, they want to go forward with us from there on, we go forward. But a lot of the times over the years, we found that people come with us asking for website or marketing and branding, and they really didn't have the foundation even to get to that point right there. And so we took it upon ourselves to help them build that foundation and really take on entrepreneurship as it was meant to be taken on, as a long-term haul and not a quick get quick rich scheme. What we do, we have also developed certain software. We have a entrepreneur software called aspotonline.com, and it helps you build a funnel, helps you build a membership site, booking all in one. And we've also just launched a magazine strictly for entrepreneurs called the Business Minds Magazines. It's free. It's on thebusinessminds.com. Check it out. And everything, like we say, we do, we try to not bottle hold your dreams and really just give you a solid foundation to build upon. Thank you once again. And I'm looking forward. This is pretty cool. I like this whole setup, man. This is cool, Glenn. I like it.
Awesome. Then we have Miss Yudlin.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yudleen. I am a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I'm also a high-impact coach and personal brand strategist. I own 3 businesses. Among them is Luminary Leaders Academy, which is a leadership and personal development firm. Unforgettable Entertainment, which is a photo marketing and brand activation company. And Girl X Health Company, which is a self-care brand.
Awesome. Awesome. So the question that's been going around a lot recently is, what does legacy mean to you, especially as an entrepreneur?
For me, I guess I'll speak first. Legacy for me has always meant what my father did for me. So he left me some things, right? Some tools or some nuggets, if you will, in order to make sure that I knew how to go on about life, right? And now that I have 2 children, I want to do the same for them. But let's just say if I did not have these children, legacy for me would mean, what impact, what am I leaving, quote unquote, behind for this world to not only benefit from as we go forward, but to also remember the gentleman who not only started it, but somebody who pioneered it and who had the perseverance to be an example and a leader to those, even if I'm no longer here. That's what legacy means to me.
Awesome. And was able to go next? Can go next. Chris or Yulin, anyone can go next.
Legacy to me would mean leaving an inheritance for my children and my children's children, and not just in the form of finances, but the library that I will leave behind, the information that I will leave behind to support him along the way, because I can give him I could leave him a lot of things for him to have, like real estate and things of that nature. However, if I don't teach him how to manage those things, then it really won't go far. So I want it to be something that I could pass on to him, and he could pass on to his children and his children and his children.
Okay, hey guys. Oh, sorry, Miss. You can go first.
No, you can go. It's fine.
I think it's a bunch, huh? Well, legacy means to me, one of the things that I really am really big on is leaving down certain pillars to my children. I have three littles, and we want to be able to pass down pillars that they can stand on no matter what situation comes their way. Whether it's taking over one of these companies or going on their own endeavors, they'll have confidence to take it on. They'll be fearless. They'll have faith, of course, in the Lord. And those type of things me and my wife really thought about. We just finished our personal mission statements and then our family mission statement to really give them a standpoint to where they have something to fall back on. Instead of just daddy telling you what to do, they can go back and see it. It's written down. And those are the type of things we want to leave behind, because at the end of the day, those are the things that no matter what happens financially, in their love life, or whatever happens to our kids in those senses, they can always have something to fall back on, so they don't just hit rock bottom. And so those are the type of things we really try to instill, not only in our family, but businesses as well, to pass down to who's ever watching. It's not just my kids, it's who's ever watching. So that's what legacy means to me.
I got a long time with this whole legacy week to sit and really figure out and define truly what legacy means to me. And I was thankful to the legacy panelists and the other forums that's been happening all week to clearly define what does this mean to me. And I wrote down, I said, basically, I want to keep my family name alive, provide a standard pattern of life with clear directions, tools, and guidelines filled with peace and relief from the struggle of generational curses. And I would like to leave an impact for the generations that follow me. So for me, I feel like legacy and generational wealth, all of those things encompasses some type of peace and some type of freedom, because nowadays everything, and a lot of our family feels like there's always struggle with having results, or always struggle with rewards. And I want to show that you can have the rewards and be relieved of the struggle. Rewards should be enjoyed, and rewards should be peaceful, and legacy should be a place of peace for our families, not a place of struggle. So that's my definition, clearly defined. Thank you, Glenn, for helping us do that too.
And Yudeline, did you have an opportunity to go? While she's unmuting her mic.
All right, we now have Daniel Williams as the host. He may now take over.
Yeah, while she's unmuting her mic to get her to answer that question, I was going to introduce to you guys our host is for our moderator for this particular session is here. That is going to be Daniel Williams. But Yudeline, you can go ahead, answer the question, and Daniel, take it away.
I actually answered it already.
Okay. All right. Go right ahead, Daniel.
No, just thankful. I apologize. This is what happens when you're trying to be an entrepreneur and be in multiple places at once. I can't wait until I can clone myself. So glad to be here. Looking forward to this discussion. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Legacy. I named my company Legacy. I'm the Director of Business Development for Legacy Consulting Solutions. And we basically help small business owners leverage digital mediums to increase their business. So I'm always a fan of what legacy means. For me personally, really just means one of two things. It's two things. It's what's the impact that you have on lives that is tied to your family name? That's the first one. And then what's the floor that you leave for those that come behind you? You know, so one is an externally facing one. What does your family name provide for society as a whole to make the world a better place? And then one is an internally facing one, an internal family structure, if you will. What is it that I then provide for those that come after me to be able to stand on my shoulders, right? We stand on the shoulders of our ancestors. And so at some point we become the ancestors for others to stand on our shoulders. So I thought that was powerful that Kimyana had actually written out a family legacy statement, you know, like that is powerful. And then, you know, I got in right as Christopher was talking about helping families to articulate what they really stand for. You know, and that's a very powerful thing. What was it that made you think of going in that direction?
I agree. And so listen, guys, we are not, we're talking about legacy. We are talking about building a legacy. And I just want to kind of throw it out there to the panel here really quickly, because I don't want you to think that you are doing all of this work, that you are putting in all of this energy, that you are investing all of this time, managing all of these calendars just to leave it to somebody else. We want you guys to kind of talk to our audience about the benefits, the joys, the excitement of being your own business, of being owning your own business and having your own resources and owning your own time. So let's just kind of get into that conversation and encourage those individuals that are on the line about the benefits of being an entrepreneur and a business owner. Go right ahead.
Okay, so man, that's a good segue. Well, one of the things that I'm big on my family, right? I'm really big on my wife, my 3 little kids, and I remember one time my son was at a park playing, and he was trying to do something, and another young kid said, "You can't do that." And the first thing he said was, "Well, my daddy did this, and he can do this. So how can you tell me, that I can't do that?" And that hit me. It hit me like, yeah, we start businesses to make money and we want to live a certain life, but man, it's so much bigger. And one of the things that entrepreneurship does, it frees up the time to allow you to really be who you're meant to be. And then your kids are watching, they're just taking this in. And little things like that just blow my mind. And like you said, those are some of the rewards that a lot of people don't talk about and don't really see, because it's something you have to live. You have to live it, and then it rewards you, without even knowing. So that's one of the things that, from entrepreneur standpoint, especially from having little kids and a family, that I'm really, really, really take in now.
Yeah, it allows you to be there, to be present. And that is the joy of, owning your own business, because you now own your own time. And that is so incredibly important. Kimyana, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, one thing I feel like being an entrepreneur is, and helps me do, is see the sunlight. I was working a job where, honestly, I went to work, and it paid me well. I came from corporate America, almost $100,000 a year. I mean, that's a good salary, right? But I wasn't seeing the sunlight, because I would go to work and it was still dark, and I'd come home and it's dark. So entrepreneurship allowed me to see the sunlight. I posted something on yesterday. I said, I love breakfast afternoon, and I love the taste of freedom, sun kissed with orange juice and rosé. I like to wake up and have my breakfast afternoon, if that's what I choose to do. And I was sitting there and drinking my Moscato with my orange juice yesterday, and I'm like, this is the life. On a Friday, normally my Friday and corporate days was hustle and bustle. So I came to the realization in 2012 when I left my job. I said, you know what? If I stay at this job, they have control of my house where I live. They have control of the car that I drive. They have control of the food that's in my refrigerator. Do I really want someone to be able to tell me no, and I don't have control of all of the things that are pertinent to my living? No, I need to take control of that.
So when you say they had control of the food in your refrigerator, what do you mean? Like they had control of when you got to eat it? Like, what do you mean?
I mean, the money that I was paid, if a job tells you goodbye tomorrow, then you're either stuck looking for another job. How are you going to eat? Especially if, and nowadays people live paycheck to paycheck. So now what happens? How are you going to eat in the next weeks to come? Rely on the government? I mean, how am I? So now you're controlling my food in a sense, and in a little sense, but also in a, you know, in a using a generality, if you will. And, you know, they're controlling my well-being.
Right.
Because they control whether I get a check or not.
Right.
But now I control that. Now being an entrepreneur, I control that I keep my house. I control that my food does make it to the refrigerator, and I control the car I drive.
Absolutely.
I don't have to depend on anyone else for money.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. I love that ideology. Udalene, I want to bring you up really quickly here because you said something in your intro that I thought was just very powerful. You said you own 3 businesses, and I'm looking 3 businesses too. I had to look at all my brands on the wall. I own 3 businesses too. And one of them obviously is this MC business. And, you know, last week I had a 5-day summit that I was assigned to, which was amazing. And for 5 straight days we were on, and I had other clients with another company that I was juggling. And so I did a picture on my Facebook page, and you saw me, and I had like 2 earphones on. One was for that summit, and the other one was for, you know, the other clients that I was working with at the same time. So one of the things that you talk about a lot, Udalene, is, you know, is brand strategies and branding those businesses, and how important it is for how we show up when we go out to the general public. Can you just touch on that a little bit for our budding entrepreneurs?
Sure. When it comes to, well, I mainly deal with personal branding, but of course, once you build a strong personal brand, then it's an extension of you, an extension of your business as well. So the key thing is to structure your business in the way that you're showing up in the world. For example, you can't be all over the place. Although I consider myself as a multi-passionate entrepreneur, that's the way I brand myself. When I present myself to a room and I say I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur, I'm able to call the different businesses that I have and not have people look at me like you're all over the place. So the key thing is to create structure around the brand that you have. Do, you know, the brand that you have, do they align with each other in a sense? And who are your target audience? Do you show up under one account on social media with all of the brand, or do you create a different account for all of them and you're not really the face of your brand? So these are the things that you have to decide as an entrepreneur, whether you're the face of your brand or whether you want your brand to be a standalone brand. I choose to be the face of all of my brands. So when I show up on social media, one minute I could be talking about Girl Excel, the next minute I could be talking about Unforgettable Entertainment or Luminary Leaders Academy, but it's the way that I brand myself. So that way I'm not confusing my audience. So the key thing is to make sure that you're clear about your message, clear about how you present yourself so that your audience is not confused as to, wait a minute, just last week she was selling, wait, today she's selling what? So you just have to make it clear so that they know who you are and what you stand for and how you present yourself.
Absolutely. We're going to bring in our moderator here, Daniel Williams. Daniel, if you can hear us and unmute your mic, go ahead and take it from here.
Oh man, no, I'm loving this particular train that we're coming. Like, you know,
Daniel, I am not moderating.
No. I was waiting for Milton's, you know, response, because I think that's a very powerful thing to ask, right? Too often we talk about the struggle of entrepreneurship, but we're not just struggling to struggle, right? We're struggling for some kind of a payout. I'd love Milton to get a chance to answer that particular question, because I know he's got some things to say about this.
Of course. Yes, sir. So one thing, I'm going to tell you guys something. When you're an entrepreneur, the biggest thing that you have, it's not the money. We can go with or without that. We know that. It's feast or famine. What you have is a level of respect for self. It is beyond anything that anybody could ever tell you about. No job you clock into could ever give you. It is the self-respect that you have, knowing that you woke up that day, you accomplished your goal, You did that thing. You stood out there. You don't even, it's some, I have literally walked away from deals and still felt good because I was able to walk away from it with the self-respect of being an entrepreneur, building something from a vision. Imagine you have something here and you just, oh my goodness, you manifest it right here. So for me, the money is a subsidiary to everything else: the self-respect, the faith, the nights of sleeplessness, the hard work, the crying, right? The not knowing, the I gotta go meet with this person tomorrow and I don't know if they're gonna say yes, but they say yes, and there it is. That's what being an entrepreneur is for me. I can speak for myself, but that's what it is. It's that level of respect that you not only have for yourself, but it is what you carry with you. So whenever you walk into a room, nobody has to wonder who the owner of that business is. They know by looking at you, say, wow, okay, that's it right there. That's she, that is he, because you carry it. You carry that business on your back without even carrying a symbol. It's planted on your forehead without even saying anything, right? You walk into a conference, they're like, oh, that's, yeah, we can tell they got something. We don't know what it is. Can't put our finger on it, but that person has it. So that's what entrepreneurship is for me. And I think wholeheartedly that's what it should be for everybody. That's just me. Amen.
That's a powerful statement. That's a powerful
Amen.
statement. And I think all of us would agree, right, with where you started with that, which is the ability to fire your customers when they don't align with where you want to go. Like if somebody decides, they're going to, what is it, the 80-20 principle, where 80% of your problems come from 20% of your customers. And at a point, you just say, it's not worth it. I'm better off walking away from this particular deal, because the amount of money that the amount of heartache this money comes with is not worth it for me. And the fact that you can't do that in corporate America, I mean, somebody said amen when I said that. So anybody want to share a story that won't get you in trouble about being able to fire a customer or fire a client?
Oh, I got plenty of those.
I do too.
But specifically one that won't get you in trouble.
Oh, what if I fired him? Hey. So I had a client once, right? This deal was about, I'm gonna be honest. I'll just be honest. I'm very transparent. So, welcome. Hello. So this deal was about $60K. All right. My commission was gonna be nice. I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. Let me tell you what happens. This gentleman, his mindset was wrong for what I was trying to accomplish with him. I am trying to help you go to the next level, sir. And I totally understand that you have the way that you want to do it. But one thing that to continue to pull at me is that you're just not a good listener. You're going to be a headache. From the time I sign on this dotted line to begin to work with you, you're now going to be somebody who actually takes away from people who actually need me. You don't seem to need me. You seem to just kind of want me there. And that's fine. So what I'm going to do for you and for my sake, I'm going to walk. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to refer you out to someone who maybe can, I didn't say it to him, but in my mind, I was like, can stand you. Because, to be in the room with the gentleman was enough. But it's just like, sir, with all due respect, this is businessman to businessman. And his partner was his wife. This is businessman to wife and husband. Could you please work with me? Understand that I am here for you. Sure, I want to collect a dollar, but at the same time, understand that I am human and I am doing something here that is not only going to benefit your business, but it's also going to benefit you guys as a married couple. Okay, because the business fails and then the marriage starts to. Okay, so yeah, but that's my story. Ain't gonna get me in no trouble.
So anybody else wanted to touch that one, or should we move on?
Yeah, I can touch that one. So, with me being in real estate, it's a constant thing figuring out what tenants fit. So with my Perfect Salon Suites, everybody have their individual spaces with doors, so it's not like they have to really interact, but in a sense they do. So I had to learn in this business that you got to keep the environment as not toxic, because the environments can become toxic, and at the end of the day, it's a detriment to you. So there's people I will not rent to. You're not a fit for this business. And mind you, at one point, I had 11 suites that I needed to get rented. And I took the advice of a mentor, because they were like, let the drama go. Do not accept new drama. I don't care. And at that time, I needed to fill the suites, because 11 suites, y'all do the math on that, times anywhere from $1,000 a month, and, so that's $11,000 a month now. So if you come in with the money, 9 times out of 10, I would say yes. Let me get the money. But I did turn down a lot of people, and luckily I followed that mentor. And because I did that, I was able to rent those suites, and within 45 days, 11 suites. And I did not do it with the drama. And all of those people pretty much stayed with me out of all of them, because I took the time to do the screening and not just take the money, because I've done it the opposite way before. But now I screen, because now the longevity is there. The drama is down. I can tell you my suites operate on autopilot. My life is much peaceful. So I'm at the point that if it disrupts my peace, I don't care how much money it is, I'm not doing it. So like the gentleman Milton, I resonate with you 100%, brother, because if it is not bringing me money and peace, then I don't want the money. I just give me the peace.
All money ain't good money. Christopher, did you want to hop in on this, or?
Just wanted to talk about, like both of them said, talk about the toxic, and one piece of advice I would give to entrepreneurs: create a system and stick with it. No matter what, don't let somebody deviate you from your system. And to be honest, that's what we did in the beginning. We were trying to be everything to everybody. And even though we had the mindset to plan ahead, but when somebody came in and like young lady said, the money's looking good, you kind of deviate, but then, for unforeseen problems start coming through. Like people want to call you after hours or on your weekend, or, just because they're paying you, and it's like, whoa, it's this money, the money is not supplementing that, that you can call me anytime. And then on top of that, a lot of people relate to me. So they instead, I'm not a butthole to them. So they try to, they're friendly, I'm friendly, and then they take that advantage sometimes. And, we had to kind of put some things in order and then stick with them. Don't let anybody take advantage of you, because it's just so many problems. So I appreciate this panel talking about, the realness that they went through, because it's going to help a lot of people, and that wisdom is going to be passed down. So, yeah, I just wanted to give a little insight from that standpoint.
Awesome. Yudeline, I want to give you an opportunity if you'd like.
Thank you. Thank you. So one of my beliefs is never do business out of desperation. Because if you're doing business out of desperation, you will find yourself settling for clients who are not your ideal clients. So be clear on who your avatar are, what your client really is, who's your ideal client that you really want to work with. And when it doesn't align, be willing to walk away from it, because when you walk away from them, you're making room for your ideal clients to come in.
That's beautifully said. Beautifully said. Now, something that I do want to touch on, and Christopher kind of almost segued into it, so I definitely want to get into that, right? Because he was saying clients were calling him off hours, they were calling him on the weekends. So how do you balance being the brand, being the business, everything that comes with running the business, family, faith, life? How have you learned how to balance all of that?
Okay, Miss Young. Well, one of the things I did, like the young lady just said too, find your ideal client. I mean, that's on point. That was really good. That's really good advice. And the more clients that fit exactly your company and which way you're going, the better your company is going to be. And that leaves you time to have a time for your family, time for everything, because you're trying to. eventually we're trying to build these companies so that we can pass things down to our kids. And one of the ways we do that is have that structure. And this young lady, I really 100% on board with that. Find your ideal client, because that actually helps you in every process of your business.
Awesome. Kimiana.
So Match.com isn't just for dating and romantic relationships. If you utilize the skills from those type of places, they ask you, first of all, what do you like? What's your future potential? What kind of qualities you want? You have to respect your own boundaries. I used to think that I have to answer every phone call. I don't know. It was just something in me, like, I don't know. I was doing a disservice to someone by not answering their phone calls. But I learned to set my hours, and you have to know that the bridge isn't going to burn down. Everything is going to be okay. If they need anything, there's why they have 911, they got hospitals, anything like that, and we have to rely on that. So when I started changing my mindset and start respecting myself enough to know my own worth, that was part of it. And yes, I run a business, but I'm not a superhuman. So I started respecting my body, because your body needs rest to refuel. And if you're continually just on pilot all the time, how will I be good or great for my other clients? So you do need that time, and self-care is so important with being an entrepreneur. I can't stress it enough, self-care. So once I learned that, and I learned what a good night's rest means for me the next day, and you start getting accustomed to that good feeling, you automatically, fall into it. So I say set boundaries for sure from the onset.
That's amazing. Self-care is critical. Yodeline.
Yeah.
I'd love to get your perspective.
So I would say that I set structure, expectations, as well as boundaries. For example, my son knows what I'm working on. So by him knowing what I'm working on, and the reason that I'm working on what I'm working on is to set him up for the future. So he's aware of what I'm doing when I'm working. And I also live by my calendar. So I keep a calendar. We set up family time. We set up time for different things. And I also allow my clients to know what's expected of them. Like if somebody texts me at 9:00 at night, don't expect me to answer you, because office hour is over. So expectation, and definitely training people and letting them know what the expectations are, letting your family know what the expectations are and what you're working on, and how everybody can be on board. I believe that teamwork makes the dream work. So it's just getting everybody on board.
That's a beautiful statement. Milton, I know you're super dad, man. So how do you
Oh, goodness. All right. So the last thing that I've always done is this. I've always made sure that no matter what I do what my grandfather taught me, and that's make a system for every single thing. Mr. Shaw said it. A system for everything. Now, when it comes to clientele, it's different for me. I don't really have an off switch when it comes to them. Reason being because of the fact some clientele are 3 hours behind me. So it's just kind of like it's not the luck of the draw, it just is what it is. So you kind of have to be at their whim at different times. Now, when it comes to coaching clients, of course, I have a set standard in place. They know from 10 to 6, I will coach you, but after 6 o'clock, I'm coaching myself. Okay. I am chilling. But as far as the other sides to things, as far as the other sides to business, hey man, if it costs me to close a deal at midnight, I'm closing that deal. That's just how I roll. Now, the thing is, if me doing that is going to take away from the more important things in my life, then I'll push it off to the side, because I understand the more important things in my life are the things I can't necessarily get back. That deal, I can fight to get that back the next day. But the time with my son and my daughter, I that's the time I have at the moment. I don't get that back, so I might as well take it now. And then I tell that person, hey, look, and I'm honest with people. That's the biggest thing. I'm not even stern. I'm just honest. Hey, look, my son, he wants to play. And I know you want to close this deal right now. So if you could give me an opportunity, I will call you tomorrow. All right, this time, is that good for you? All right, perfect. Simple and plain. And then there we go. So most entrepreneurs, we all have some of us have set hours, and some of us are just 24/7. I do take Sundays to rest. I always tell people, look, man, even God had to rest one day. I mean, for goodness sakes, let his brother get his rest in. and I just take my one day to rest, and then Monday, hey, we hit the ground running. You know, it's just kind of how we work.
Now, I do want to touch on something too, you know, just kind of pivoting away from the balance. Everybody here has had a level of success, right, in where they are today. But we always have this issue where the number one issue that most people identify with starting and then growing their business, everyone identifies this as capital. So here's my question. One, is it truly capital the biggest obstacle to starting and scaling a business? And if the answer is no, what do you think it is? Whoever wants to toss this one up first gets to go at it.
I think it's the belief in yourself. That's what I think it is. I think that once you make the decision to take action, the finances, the fundings and everything will align. So it's just a matter of believing in yourself and making the decision to move forward.
I love that. Kemiana, I heard you say the word mindset in your last answer, so I really want to kind of hear what you have to say about this.
I think also I agree 100% with Uline is to having a belief system, but also creativity. Because think about the times that you've been and just say, you know, people that are working a job, people that are out there, and just say you get in a pinch. And, you know, when it comes, especially a mother, I'll use that as an example, to provide for a child, or a father to provide for a child. If it's something that your child needs, people will find a way to figure out the money. And a lot of times it's not with credit cards, it's not with capital. They didn't need all of this. You notice that people will find a way to bury somebody. People will find a way to let your child get sick. You're going to raise some money, let you not have some food. You're going to figure it out. And I think sometimes when it comes to entrepreneurship, we have it in us, that drive to figure it out, or that creativity, but it's not utilized when it's to do your own business. It's utilized when there's emergency. So learning that creativity does exist in us, and having a belief system, like Uline said, and the creativity together, you will figure this thing out. And also, here's another thing. A lot of times we want everything to be perfect before we just press that button and start. A lot of times you just don't press the button and start, because guess what? There's this thing called alignment. When you start, and I'll give you an example. So I need to open a bank account. I call my friend, hey, I need to open a bank account. What is that friend going to do? Oh, Chase got this deal going on. Now you're at Chase. You talk to the lady, I need to open a bank account. The lady says, okay, I'm going to open your bank account. Then she starts telling you about CDs and all this stuff. The same thing happens in business. When you start and you start telling people what it is that you want to do, you will start to fall in place with your clients, and everything will start to come in place. But guess what? If you don't start and you need everything perfect, that's when you're stopping yourself from your true alignment. So with entrepreneurship, it's belief, creativity, and if nothing else, start.
Done is better than perfect, and alignment. Gentlemen, I really want to get y'all perspective, and because Christopher, you unmuted as soon as she said alignment.
Hey.
You can't.
And you know what? Because look at this panel. Look what we got here. This is some energy, you know, and you're supposed to be feeling. This should be fun, you know. And both of those were great answers. I was actually gonna say start. I had to switch it up, but I'm gonna switch it up though, kind of combined, because the fear. Some people that the capital, the not getting started, having everything perfect. That's all coming down to fear, you know. And what, like young lady said, talking about belief, we got to, in order to get past that fear, one of the things that we preach is always own those little wins. Like whenever somebody comes to us and has a name for a company or anything, I say, go get the domain name, go get the social media accounts, go get everything to where at least you can look back and say, okay, I got this. This is one little check. There's a little wins. And then they grow into these big ones, and then that's when you find the alignment. That's when you start believing. And so some of that stuff, I mean, people always talk about money and capital, but that's gonna come, you know, once you start working and you really find your niche, get your ideal client, all that kind of, God has a plan, and he works that way. He works all that out. So I wouldn't say capital. I would say that, you know, getting over that fear, and in a systematic way to approach that fear with just getting little wins. and being appreciative of those little wins. So that's, yeah. So I'm just loving this. I like this. I like entrepreneurship. So.
I'm going to agree with Christopher that, you know, and Kimyana and Udaline and Milton, start. You got to start somewhere. You can't wait until your circumstances are perfect, because when you step out on faith, not fear, but faith, everything that you need will begin to manifest itself. You will find more creative ways to be able to make more money, more clients, more referrals, more opportunities will begin to be generated when you first show that you are serious about your craft. Invest in you. When you invest in you and people see what you are willing to bring to the table, then they will refer you out like, hey, I know this dynamic MC that'll change her background to match your event. Like, okay, shameless plug. But you know, they will they will see those things. So listen, get started, do what you have to do, and put your business, your brand out front. I love it. That's exactly what it is. Get past fear and start.
I love that. Milton.
Yes, sir. Okay. So for me, I agree with everything everyone said. I really did. And I also want to add to it is this. One of the biggest things to start your business, you have to understand your purpose and your destiny on this earth. Because if alignment goes with everything, if it does not align with who and what you're meant to be, then you're literally going to start a business and eventually you're going to end up passing it on, or you're going to not enjoy exactly what you're doing. It's not going to fit you whatsoever. So if it does not align with who you are, and that is the biggest homework for everybody, to make sure that because there's some people who have a business right now, and I've met them, that they are not happy. They're not happy because it doesn't fit exactly who they are. It is not them. They're just doing it because of the fact it gives capital. And I keep trying to tell people, your capitalistic mindset will be your destroyer. Do not take that on. Your capitalistic mindset will kill you. If you have a mindset of purpose and destiny and you are aligned with that, and I've told people that who don't even believe in God, I'm like, if you have some type of understanding that who you are, who you were made to be, your dynamic makeup means that your dynamic idea, I couldn't replicate it if I tried. I could get the blueprint. I can get the blueprint to your house, and I promise you I will mess up at least one or two spots because I'm not you. So make sure, like I said, there's plenty of lingerie companies, right? But there's only one Fenty Savage and there's only one Victoria's Secret, right? Everybody has their own idea. So my thing is this: if you have something that you really want to do that's knocking on your door and is pulling at you, man, if you don't open that door and let that thing overtake you and embrace it, embrace the fear, embrace it all. Just let it smack you around and do it afraid, do it tight, do it clenched up. I do. I walk in there sometimes scared, and that's fine. But I'm in there. Let's go. And when I tell you guys that, to me, is entrepreneurship in a nutshell. To do it regardless, excel regardless.
I kind of feel like you actually almost kind of answered my next question. So I was told today's session a little bit shorter.
Okay.
This last question, you get a minute and a half. And I want to ask you, if you had an opportunity to talk to yourself from 10 or 15 years ago,
let me put my phone down,
or two things of advice you would tell yourself about starting your business. And I want to start with the ladies and end with the gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
I really want to hear what you have to say about this.
I'll go first. I turned my camera off instead of my mic. I'll go first. If I had to have the conversation with 10-year-old LaWanda, the first thing I would tell her is to find your voice, because that's what I use in my business, is my voice. The only thing that I have to sell to anyone else is my natural gifts, talents, and abilities. So what Milton just said is so important, that you make sure that you understand your purpose and your plan. It took me a long time to get here. So if I could reverse the time and go back and talk to 10-year-old LaWanda, I would tell her to be confident in her own voice, in her own space, in what she looks like, and in who she is, and start your business before you got my age. I ain't telling y'all what it is.
I'm not going to ask. I know better. Next up, ladies.
I would say define your lane or lanes if it's multiple and dominate in it. Define it. Don't let other people define it for you, but to define it for yourself and dominate in that lane. And the second one that I would say is be clear on the value that you bring to the table, because at the end of the day, you're not selling products, you're not selling services, but you're selling value. That's all.
Kemiana.
One thing I had a long time to kind of think about this question, and I came up with the 4 Ps for my life, and that's what I would tell the younger.
Wait, Kemiana, your audio is going out again.
Is it on now?
No, it's echoing. It's the robotic voice.
Okay.
We'll just go to one of the gentlemen for the moment.
Yes.
Christopher.
Okay, cool. The two things I would tell myself would be focus and that you have enough. We can build anything, you know. I really have a lot of belief in myself, you know, from past things that I've done that built the confidence over a while, but that sometimes led to not being focused on what you need to do. And then when I got focused, I would always add more products or add more things. Now they all had to deal with entrepreneurship and helping people build a business, but it actually came out of a sense of believing what I had was not enough, or who I was not enough at that time. You know, I didn't really need those things. And so where we are right now, we're just so laser focused, and we actually got rid of a lot of stuff, and we're just going full steam. And I was actually thinking that the same thing we're thinking right now, and the same what made us successful now we was actually thinking it, you know, 15 years ago. But since I didn't have that sense of I have enough and I'm content with what we have, we were adding stuff that got us totally off of our lane. So those are the main things I would go back and tell myself: to focus, Chris, and that you have enough, man. You got enough. God gave you enough.
That's powerful. Kemiana is back. Talk to us.
Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. So one time I had a good time to think about this, and now I said that I try to, if I had to tell my younger self a little advice, it would be prayer, peace, positivity, and prosperity. And it has to be in that order, because prayer, and people call it like meditation, you know, whatever you want to call it. But it all needs to always begin with prayer, because once you have the prayer, then you become peaceful. Then it brings you into a peace. Once you're in a peaceful place, it's easy to be positive. And when you have positivity, the flow of prosperity just happens automatically. I would also tell myself, if it's too hard, don't do it. And what I mean by that is success shouldn't be a struggle. When you're truly living in your purpose, as Milton had stated, and when you're truly alignment happens, and you know that you're doing the right thing and you're on the right track, when it feels good. And when it feels good, when things are too hard, it's not in alignment with what you're supposed to be doing. So, you know, for me, the manifestation part, and a lot of people confuse fast with not happening. And that's not, you know, that's not truth. And I was that person, like, oh, if it didn't happen, you know, fast, it wasn't happening. But manifestation sometimes takes time. So that's what I would tell my younger self.
Awesome. Milton.
Yes, sir. So
love to get you to kind of close that question out.
I'm a closer, man. So 10 years ago, 10 years ago, actually is when I found out exactly what I was meant to do in life, to this very day. 10 years ago exactly. So I'm going to talk to that guy right now if y'all don't mind. Young man, let me tell you something. 10 years from now, you're going to look back at yourself 10 years, and you're going to look back at yourself and you're going to say, what the heck? Why didn't you run when you knew you were supposed to run? You started walking because you were afraid. You saw all the trials and fire. You saw all your responsibilities. You saw everything that you had to take on. And what you started to do was you were running to things that took you away from that thing. But what you didn't know was it's attached to you. So it's never going anywhere. It's your duty to turn around and give it a big old hug and say, come on in here, man, purpose. Come on in here, divine. Everything. This is who you are, man. You were born to be this, man. What are you doing? Run to your destiny, sir. You're running to the wrong things. You're allowing everything to distract you. Every female who looks at you, oh man, well, shoot, let me go over here. Well, let me go over here. Everything is pulling you and pushing you left and right. But for some odd reason, when you go to bed at night, even if you're laying next to somebody you know you shouldn't be, your purpose looks at you dead in the face, and you can either choose to ignore that bad boy, or you can choose to look back at it and say, all right, okay, I see you. I'm sorry I've neglected you, because that's a lot of things that's the toughest thing I had to realize. I neglected my own purpose. It's like neglecting your own child. It hurt me to realize that I was neglecting my own purpose. And if everybody would realize that if they're not walking, you are neglecting, you're hurting. You may seem happy at this party, or you may seem happy because you're having this drink with your buddies, but deep down inside, you're hurt, you're depressed, and you're extremely sad because you're not even walking. You're not even running. You don't even have your wings. It feels like you're walking in quicksand no matter what you do. And you paint that smile on your face everywhere you go, Milt. Everybody loves Milt's smile. But one thing they didn't know is that dude at 25 years old, I'm 35. I got a little gray, my mama said I need more vitamins and stuff. Don't get out of my business. So when I was 25 years old, and I didn't realize how much I neglected myself, searching for who I was, and I was right there the whole time. So just as Chris said, you are enough. Everybody said the same thing. So that's I'm sorry, Daniel. I'm sorry. I can preach, bro. But so that's my thing.
I know. Look, man, everybody started talking about purpose and alignment, and I was just like, I'm gonna just let y'all go, because it gets I think deep. A lot of people, it really does, right? But a lot of people make it harder than it needs to be. It really is about that, right? As long as you're working and walking in purpose and in alignment, man, everything else just falls, like Kemyana said, it starts to fall in place. You don't have to see the whole staircase, right? I did say that was the last question. One more question came in, and I do want to pose this to everybody. Failure. How do we overcome failure? 1.5 minutes. Give me the short version, but something that someone can take with them, because, when we talk about fear, a large part of the fear is the fear of failure, and failure is going to happen. We can't discount failure as part of the process. So how do we overcome that as being part of the process and move past the fear of failure, past the failure itself, to growth? Kemyana, I want to hear what you got to say on that.
Learning that failure is a necessity. When I wrapped my mind around that, because how is success measured? Everybody had to fail to even know that there was a success. So I had to do that, and to know that failure is only temporary, because at some point you're going to try, you're going to get that win. It's just like an athlete. The first time they run that race, the second time they get faster, the third time they get even more faster, and then the fourth time they get the gold medal. But the gold medal don't happen the first time. And so when we start to make failure as something okay, as something regular, as something normal, then the fear gets extracted. We have to extract the fear. And how do you do that? When it becomes normal. Failure is normal. You just get back up and figure out and create and get another way of doing it. That's it.
Love that. Udaline.
Okay, I would say it's all about perspective. Failure, you can look at failure as a form of defeat, or you can look at it as an opportunity. It is an opportunity for you to evolve. It is an opportunity for you to meet and encounter a higher version of yourself. So it's all about perspective.
Love that. Milton.
All right. So did you fail? Is the biggest thing I've always asked myself. Did you actually fail? Man, did you fail or not? If you say yes, that means you actually did something to fail. If you're sitting there, if you're sitting there, if you're doing something and you fail, you didn't fail. You had a building block. That's all that is. You just added on to it. I lift weights. If I can't get it the first time, trust me, I'm gonna keep going until I get it. It's not failure. That's just getting stronger. That's just getting better. Now if I look at the weight bar and at the weight bench and I don't get under there and I just think that I'm going to fail when I sit down, guess what? Then you actually fail. So your failure is not failure unless you actually did nothing. You fail when you when you do nothing. You don't fail
Wow.
when you're actively going towards it.
Wow, that's powerful, and it ties back into perspective. Christopher.
Sorry. Okay, so I'll just go back to we're goal oriented and make sure you're getting those little wins. I would go back to the little wins, and then also, Ms. Jones, when we talked about expectations, when you're pushing for what you want to do, you got to expect. Like don't just think it's going to be. You got to expect some diversity, because not only are you doing something you've never done before, you're going to another level, and every level you got to expect. But that expectation, like perspective, like Miss Yolanda, don't butcher it, Chris. Sorry. Said that the perception of that failure. You know what I'm saying? That's not that. You may see it as a negative thing. So many other people around you may see it another thing, but you have to realize, how is it going to affect where I want to be, what I really want to do. And now you got a perspective. Now there's still fear, but now you're looking at it different. It's a paradigm shift. And then you only lose for so long. If you're on the right fight, you can only lose. We're humans. The way we were built, we adapt. And you can only lose for so long, especially if you're fighting for something. You can't lose forever. And that may not be what people want to hear, but that's
real talk.
So that's kind of how I get over failure, using those type of ways of thoughts.
Awesome. Lawanda, I would love for you to have the last word on today's discussion.
Oh, that is so kind. I feel so honored to be, first of all, numbered in this great panel of thinking mind, just amazing individuals to talk to us about, entrepreneurship. And we've got some other sessions coming up immediately following this one that's going to take us a little bit deeper into discovering how to put together our entrepreneurial dreams with our very own Kimyana Jones Bay. So we're going to be inviting you here in just a few moments to head over there. But in my opinion, Daniel, I will tell you this, that nothing beats a failure but a try. And so if you never try anything in your life, like Milton said, you already failed. The first thing that you have to do is try and get beyond the fear and just go out there and do what you believe your passion and your purpose has called you to do. Go and try. That is how I am going to let that kind of resonate. And so, guys, thank you so much for listening here to the Legacy Conference. Legacy Lives Here. Thank you so much to all of our amazing panelists for being a part of our entrepreneurial think tank. Thank you, Daniel Williams. You did the darn thing. You really got the juice out of the berries here, and you helped us get to the amazing part and portions of what it means to truly be an entrepreneur. We thank you for your time, your talent, and for being a part of this discussion on today. I already mentioned it, guys. Part of being an entrepreneur is, part of the privilege of being an entrepreneur is having the ability to make changes in what you're doing. And our entrepreneur, our CEO and our founder here has extended our time so that we could get more information from our entrepreneurial think tank, and we moved our times back a little bit. So our next session is going to be starting at 3:15 p.m. with Kimyana. We want to make sure that you check your Hoover app, click the link, think, come into that room and let's learn literally how we can, the steps to ownership, to entrepreneurship. Kimiana is going to be teaching and depositing that information in us today. So again, thank you very much to all of our panelists here for the Entrepreneurial Roundtable. We'll be going over at 3:15 to our hub and learning more about our entrepreneurial journey. I want to take a moment to just thank all of our sponsors here that have been a part of the Legacy Conference this year. Without our sponsors, we would have absolutely not been able to pull this off. So thank you to the B12 store from the Westfield Broward Mall, Shakira Renee, and also to Lakeisha Marion. They are our platinum sponsors for this Legacy Conference that really helped us to be able to pull forward this whole this whole conference. Our gold sponsors include the SG Law Firm, I Think Financial, Community Development and Benefits LLC, Sanders and Associates, the world class, the Giffey Business Solutions, Van Horn Law Group PA, Jesus in the Trenches, Alpha and Omega. They are our gold level sponsors. And then of course we had our silver legacy sponsors, which includes Madelon Law Firm, Wealth Spring Consulting, and me, YouNeedAMC.com, and Engage Your Dreams. And of course, we thank each and every one of our gold legacy sponsors. That is the Build Your Consulting Business Now Summit, Publix, LTM, it looks like Fayola Delicia, the Management Academy, the Thrive Institute, and Dragon Lady Photographers. Thank you to all of our sponsors who made this event possible. We absolutely appreciate your contribution, your finances, and your faith that we are bringing and helping people learn how to bring legacy into their lives. We're going to give you guys a 5-minute break. That's only 5 minutes. So make that 3.5 minutes so that you can be back at 3:15 p.m. to join us for our next session with Kimiana Jones Bay. She's going to help those of you who are interested in leaving your 9-to-5 behind and starting your own business. We're going to get steps to be able to make it to that level. We'll see you 3:15 p.m. Bye for